All right, thanks for joining us, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Questions for Coach Sumlin, please raise your hand. We'll start with David Kelly, KVOA.
Coach, there was a report during the FS1 broadcast that you guys had to play shorthanded on Saturday night with only 55 scholarship players. Well, what can you tell us about that situation and how that may affect you moving forward?
Well, I think, it's just got a big echo right there. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Yeah. But somebody's got their stuff on, so it's going back. All right. I would say this, that is a situation that I think a lot of people are dealing with and those numbers got out. It's day to day and it's week to week. I think you've seen it for a lot of different programs across the country and different games that have played without people from, the number one team in the country to everybody else. So, where those numbers are, they fluctuate during the week. Obviously we've played 4 games, right? And other people haven't played that many. So you've got a combination of COVID, you've got a combination of injury, just a number of different things. And to be able to play the games is really important. Our guys understand that, but those numbers have fluctuated week to week.
Mm-hmm. And I want to ask about a particular play you guys had in the second quarter, a running play where you guys had Josh McCauley pull when he had a defensive tackle looked, it was like zero technique. Is there a possibility to check out of a play like that? I mean, how does that happen when you got a D tackle, you can allow him to just come across the line knowing that your center's about to pull out of there?
Yeah, that does happen. We can check out of it. There were other times, obviously, where we were able to get that block and get what is termed a pin pull series, even with a zero. That that ball is going outside. So, is it the best option? No, but those are that scheme schematically still had a chance if we get the down block that we need.
And so the down block has to come from the guard.
Exactly.
Right.
Next question, Michael Lev, Arizona Daily Star.
And just to answer your question, David, there's you got a couple different things going on with a zone scheme, with a man blocking scheme to knock people off the ball. In this situation, obviously, Josh has given up a little bit weight with their nose. He was about 330, 40. And so those angles, for him to use his athleticism become important. There are other times in the game where we had success running that same play.
Go ahead, Michael.
Okay. I want to pick up where we left off the other night and ask you about Grant. You guys did have a chance to, get out on the practice field yesterday. Is there any update on his status?
Not yet. We got on the practice field last night. Probably know a little bit more today and tomorrow. I just put it that way because, he didn't do anything last week. So we're going to defer to our medical team and see where he is later on in the week.
Given how the offense was kind of, up and down during the game, struggling at times, did you consider lifting Will at any point and putting in Rhett Rodriguez or Kevin Doyle instead?
But I thought our issues were not related to the quarterback position Saturday. I think as you watch the game, as you watch what happened, we had issues in protection. And, and I thought that Will's ability to use his legs got us out of some things. So, it's, I say it all the time, a quarterback gets, it's just like the head coach. You get way too much credit when things are going good and you get all the blame when things don't go well. And he understands that. But, as I said Saturday night, there's 10 other guys on the field. And, one interception was a poor route and the ball was tipped and it was a poor route. So, and then, protection was an issue, obviously. And, you know, us, as I said, game plan wise, us being able to run the ball, which we did effectively, you know, by numbers, but not by real, as I say, real game time, right? And third downs and staying on the field. And so, you know, that's our challenge. If we, you know, the third and medium area where 3rd, 5, 6, where we got to stay on the field. That's not just all the quarterback.
So Kevin Doyle was one of the most highly ranked recruits that you've had since you've been here, and he hasn't really moved up the depth chart that much. Why do you think that is?
Well, you know, we're at practice all the time. So everybody has an opportunity during practice, as I say, to prove to the other players and to the coaches that, you know, that you're going to be able to perform and do those things. It's not just a guess or just pick a guy. So, you know, throughout preseason practice, Will moved up the chart by doing the things that he's done. Those spots are earned and not given away. And, you know, we'll make changes as we've done since we've been here. You saw the changes in the offensive line last week, right? You saw changes in the defensive line, playing some younger guys, getting guys back in there, you know, and even on defense, you know, with Mays playing a bunch last weekend, right, at the safety position, whether it's injury or moving around, even Reddy Short, who didn't play a bunch last year, right? So, you know, all those things are earned in practice and they're evaluated in practice. And there's a lot of people, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that, you know, but those evaluations are daily, not just from the preseason practice, but daily. And I think you see those guys, number of guys on this team moving up and down the depth chart right now, because trying to get the best people on the field and the people who during practice give us the best chance to play. And there's no agenda, right? Our agenda is to win. And as I've told other guys on the football team, coaches, players, everything else, look, you know, we're going to put the guys out there that give us the best chance to win based on their day-to-day performance in practice and you know, how they do in practice.
Thank you.
Next question, Justin Spears, Arizona Daily Star.
Coach, obviously, the first 2 results of the Territorial Cup didn't go in your favor, but how would you describe just the emotions and everything that goes into a game like this?
Well, it's a rivalry game, right? So, you know, that's the first thing you got to, you know, one of the oldest, if not the oldest, in the country. And, you know, along those lines, you know, we've got a number of new players who don't understand it, right? Unless you've been in it, you don't have a feel for the intensity. You know, the first year, we missed a field goal to win the game. A back and forth game last year up there. You know, the intensity level in the game, I think it was widely publicized a couple of years ago, the pregame, right? We had some issues before that, which changed some rules in college football, actually, for warm-ups and everything else. So a lot of these guys know each other, you know, and, you know, it's intense. I mean, between players and coaches, you know, a lot of guys know each other, and it's a pride situation, and for our fans, alumni, and their fans, alumni, it's a big deal in the state. So, you know, we're both coming in this thing, you know, with looking for a win, and so I think that actually raises things up a little bit even more, because, you know, we'll see what happens, you know, after this game with what's going to go on with whatever the Pac-12 decides, and as far as games down the road. But obviously this one is impactful for a number of reasons, for our fans, for alumni, for our players. So yeah, the intensity level does get raised another bar.
And with the uncertainty of, you know, what's going to happen after this week, do you kind of approach this as a bowl game, considering the losing streak? And
No. I mean, it's we're approaching it as a rivalry game. It's been on the schedule, and there's no time for that just because we're on a short week, right? So we're playing Friday night. We were on the field last night after playing Saturday night. So there's no time for that. I think what's more important is for our guys to feel what the tradition, what the rivalry is. I had Chuck Cecil talk last night after practice just about his experience, what it means to him. There'll be a number of people that will be around the program this week just to make sure that some of the young guys and some of the transfers understand the importance and the tradition of this football game.
And what did you take away from Coach Cecil's speech?
Well, it was, it's obviously he's a very passionate person, right? And emotional. And so I thought it was a great way to kick off the week.
Next question, Alec White, Arizona Daily Star.
Hey, Coach, just to clarify on Grant's status, does he need to be able to practice at any point this week to have a chance to go on Saturday?
Yes.
Okay. And then for Jamari Joyner, how do you get the ball in his hands more? Because he was explosive at the end of last year, especially against ASU. How do you get him involved again like you did last game?
Yeah, well, we'll see. We're trying to get ahead. He had a 30-yard punt return. We got it to him the last week. 2 weeks ago, I think, it's sometimes the ball finds you based on coverage, right? We didn't really get anything out of Castile 2 weeks ago, but we got something. It's what you need. You need depth there, right? So you had two running backs rush for over 120 yards apiece. There's only one football, and our guys understand it based on what we're getting in coverage, what we're getting, and what our game plan is. Certainly Jamari is a big part of what we're doing, but Castile came on last week, which we need him to do. He didn't play the first game against SC. He's a dynamic player as well.
And then did you have a chance to go back and watch Castile's catch, the acrobatic one? Have you seen, where does that rank in terms of, best catches that you've seen?
No, he's a really good football player. And, the same question can be asked. He didn't play against SC, which in a man-to-man coverage game, that's kind of his deal, right? And Stanley has had some big moments too with man-to-man. So, we got some guys out there that can run, right? Particularly against press coverage and some things that get open. That's been an emphasis because that's what we're seeing. So, the more guys we can get on the field that have an opportunity with particularly against man-to-man coverage with BJ being back. Obviously Jamari's a little bit bigger guy that's playing inside and outside a lot. And Stanley has had his moments too. So yeah, it's, as I said, there's one football and when you got two guys rushing for 120 apiece and there's only so many plays.
Next question, Jay Gonzalez, Fox Sports 1450.
Kevin, this is getting back to the rivalry. This is your third shot at this rivalry. How do coaches who generally move around as you have get into a program like this and understand the rivalry? I mean, I've been here. Some of us have been involved in this rivalry for 50 plus years. In your third year, how are you able to capture the importance of the rivalry, but primarily to the fans and really kind of put that out for the players?
Well, I just talked about that, right? I just covered that.
But I'm trying to get to you personally.
With Chuck talking last night, and for me, you think back to the first game where we had some incident before the game, right? And that was on national TV, and to lose the game by missing a field goal at the end. Doesn't get any closer than that. Doesn't get any more intense than that. So for me, that's easy. And for our players who've been involved in it, that's easy. I think for the new guys, whenever, and it's not unique to the Territorial Cup, because you've got guys at all kinds of schools that are playing in rivalry games that may or may not be from that state or that area. But once they walk on the field and they're wearing that particular university's logo and uniform, they figure it out pretty quick, right? And in this case, our guys get it. As I said, I thought it was important to kick off the week with guys who have been involved in it, as you have for a long time, and really express the intensity level of this game.
All right, thank you.
Next question, Shane Dale, Wildcat Country.
Coach, in the 3 years you've been at Arizona, is there anything that you've learned that sets this rivalry apart from some of the other rivalries you've been a part of, either in terms of the off-field history or the intensity among the fans?
Yeah, I didn't know. Chuck said that one year that they kidnapped a couple, 3 guys. So I didn't know that part, but I don't know that that's true or not. It might have just been getting them fired up. But wherever you go, there's always going to be that game, right? So, and when you're in it, that's when you have the appreciation for it. And it's just like anything else, right? So if you can look at it from afar and say, man, this is intense, but when you're in it, and not till you're in it, do you really get it? And I thought, because of what Chuck was talking about, and we'll have some other people be involved this week and talk about their experiences and what it means. And so, as a player, yeah, every game's important. For our fans, every game's important, but rivalry games just mean more. I've been a part of a bunch of them, and whether it's Red River Shootout, Old Oaken Bucket, Paul Bunyan Axe, you name it, right? So there's a bunch of them out there. Little Brown Jug. I've seen a bunch of them, right? So, but until you're in it, you don't understand the significance of what that means to a lot of different people besides the guys that are on the field.
Can you mention real quick, Coach, any of the other alumni who are going to come later this week to talk to the team?
No.
Thank
you. I'll let you know at the end.
Okay.
Next question, Rich Herrera, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Good afternoon, Coach. I want to follow up on what you talked about coaching in some of these big rivalry games. What are the pros and cons this week of getting your team ready and having them focused versus getting so distracted because it is a rivalry week?
I don't think there's no such thing as distracted from from a rivalry game. I think it's business as usual for preparation. I think the intensity level during the game, I think that's where it can be one way or the other, right? So the preparation piece is still going to be the same. Once you get to the stadium, once you start getting dressed, once you walk out there and warm up, then you start feeling that, and then how you channel those emotions become important to be successful.
Following up on the game from last week, the turnovers, the fumble recovery, the 2 interceptions by Pandy. Can you talk about the emphasis that you had in practice leading up to the game, and then how you're going to build on that for the next few games as far as takeaways go?
Yeah, we went a couple, 3 weeks, right, without a turnover, without a takeaway, right, and or very minimal. So, as I said Saturday night, I thought Anthony Pandy being able to practice for the last week was big, and I think it showed up in his performance with his tackles, how physical he was, how he ran to the ball, and as I've said before, with our guys, good things happen to people who play hard, and good things happen to teams that play hard, and I thought that was one of Pandy's best performances, since we've been here. So, that kind of effort and energy is contagious. And we need him to continue this week during practice to kind of set the tone and pick up where he left off Saturday night.
And finally, like we ask you every week, can I get two different sound bites, one on Arizona State's offense and a separate one on their defense that we can use on the pregame show?
Yeah, I think they've only played a couple games, but obviously coming into this season, Jayden Daniels is a very, very talented player, right? And can do things with his legs, can do things with his arm, and they've got some real good skilled players for what they do. Some RPO stuff, but obviously he can operate at a high level when he gets going. You look at their defense, and that's Herm's known for that, right? And then they've got in Pierce and Marvin, they're on those guys. They got one of the best players in the league, I think, and Evan Fields is what's he got, 11 tackles a game right now in 2 games. You get to, and Robertson, is another 8.5 tackles a game. You got 20 tackles a game between those 2 guys, right? So obviously, we gotta know where those guys are and block them, and to have a chance, because they've been in those 2 games, they've been pretty dynamic defensively. So, they've got some dynamic players on both sides of the ball.
Great. Thank you very much. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
We have time for one more question for Coach. We'll go to Bailey O'Carroll, KOLD.
You're muted.
Bailey, you're muted.
Okay, now it should be good. Sorry. Hey, Coach. So we've almost beaten this subject to death, but one more question about the rivalry. So much about rivalry games are the atmosphere, right? Like once you run onto the field, the crowd's going crazy. That obviously is not going to happen this year.
Right.
Once you get to the game, once your guys run out onto that field, what's your job in making them motivated, maybe more so than just any other game this season?
Well, just what I said, Bailey, I think, from, a couple years ago, you saw that before we can even get out there, right? So, it's coming into game 5, really 4 games without fans, right? Our guys, I'm not going to say used to it, but they've been through it before and understand, what that looks like, what ambient noise looks like or sounds like. So, in the end, just like when you're a little kid, right? You didn't have 50,000 people at a game. You played the game because you love the game, and you played hard because you wanted to win. And so, that we've talked about that. That's the big deal. It's disappointing for our fans. It's disappointing for a lot of people, but in order to move forward with the football season, that's where it is right now. And this is, it's 2020, right? So there's a lot of things that are different for these young guys, from, grab and go food and different places in hotels, different, social distancing when we meeting on Zoom, everything's different. So, you embrace playing, because there's a lot of teams that I talked to, a good friend of mine as a coach, they've had 6 games canceled this year. And that's tough on guys too, to practice all week and then get games canceled, to have 6 of them. Everybody's got challenges right now in 2020. So just like what we're doing right here, right? With Zoom. So, it just gets back to you're playing a game, and just like you played in the park, just like you played, whether it was Pop Warner, Little League, middle school, whatever that is, it gets back to playing football and doing something that you like to do and taking pride in it.
Thanks. And one follow-up to that. Have you heard any of your guys who have played in this rivalry game before talk to those who haven't, and what message have they been relaying to each other?
Yeah, I mean, guys are, they share different things. you got to remember, you know, we got on the field last night for the first time, right? And they're still in school now. So we won't see them again till this afternoon. So, you know, there's, you know, I'll meet with the captains this week. I'll meet with a bunch of guys that have been through it. And, you know, when we meet again today, and basically we covered Saturday night's game yesterday and moved on to, you know, basic game planning for this week on a short week. So there'll be more of those discussions as we go through the week.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you.